This KKR deal, we thought it was coming. It's now come.
That's right.
This is a big private equity deal, right?
It is a big private equity deal because if you factor in the debt that they're assuming, it's a $10 billion deal. We have not seen a lot of deals of that size. And it was interesting going back to last week when we had the big Bloomberg Invest conference. I actually sat down with the two new, relatively new co-presidents of KKR. And one of the things they said is they are buying complexity and selling simplicity. So this is a company, Envision, which is obviously in the healthcare space, as you mentioned. And it's been under a pretty rigorous strategic review, which I read as this company may be a little bit of a mess. And so that may be the reason.
There was an activist shareholder that came in, right, and wanted to change the company.
Exactly right. So, I mean, this is where private equity, at least theoretically, proves its worth. Now, the worry for investors, of course, is that at a time like this in the cycle, this was a competitive deal, and they are likely paying a very full price here. So they're going to need to, this isn't just going to be like, oh, we're going to buy it cheap and, sell it down the line for more and make some money. They're really going to have to get in there and fix some things.
And I feel like something that came up, say, when Blackstone made that big deal for Thomson Reuters was, is this going to be the next big wave of buyouts?
Right.
Is it? And then now going to KKR, is it?
It feels like no.
I
mean, this
about?
feels like an exception rather than the rule. Net private equity firms are selling rather than buying right now because valuations are so high.
So speaking of Blackstone, they also supposedly are offering some discounts now, and they're big Saudi Arabia-backed, actually.
That's right.
Infrastructure.
So this is
fund.
the infrastructure fund that was announced to great fanfare last year in Saudi Arabia when Steve Schwarzman and a number of other people were there with the President of the United States. Infrastructure has been the white whale for big private equity firms. I mean, it really has. And
everybody talks about it. Nobody can find it.
Everybody talks about it. You've got a couple big players, Global Infrastructure Partners being the best known. They've owned several airports in the London area and ports and whatnot around the world. But other firms like KKR, like Blackstone, have not ever really been super successful in doing this. So it's not a huge surprise, but they do have a big backer in Saudi Arabia. So it's a little surprising they have been able to galvanize investors around this.